the turn of the century in 1898.
1898.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it did.
Factory workers, mostly in the cotton industry, although there was a lot of wool industry up to the east coast from where we lived. That's why I said you had the questions asked, get them in sequence. Now this goes back to the first one again.
But do you remember what year they came over?
Both parents came over about 1890, let's see, 90, subtract same year, or approximately the same year. My father stayed with a different group entirely. I had 6 children. The oldest one was born in Massachusetts. The oldest 2 were born in Massachusetts. Or was it 2? Yeah, the third one was born in Massachusetts. About that time, my father came west to Chicago, which was just building up then as a large city. And there again, he went into the textile industries, worked in the factories. I had 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Did I or didn't I? I don't know whether I did or not. My oldest sister's name was, I was the oldest in the family. I was born in 98. My brother was born, next to me was born in 97. And then John, in 1902. Margaret was born. Oh, I'm not right on all that. I just can't do 5. Margaret was born. Jack was born in 1903. I was born in 1900. Around 1905.
What did you...
4 years.
When you were a kid, what did you do to play? Did you play outside?
Oh yes, the whole world was playground too. Very, a great deal less building. I'm in Rockford. Was in the southeastern part of town, south part of town, southeastern is right part of town. All the children all went to public school. And everything was very much built in 64, it was destroyed about 19. That's why I wrote these down. I couldn't fit at that time the Central High. And that satisfied the community for about 5 or 6 years. And then they divided the high school to the north and south parts of town. They were called the East and West High School. They are still in use.
After high school, what did you do?
After we got our high school education, which was thought to be sufficient at that time. Each one of us followed our own instinct. I became a nurse. My oldest brother was a plumber. The plumbing industry was just coming into its own in those days.
Peggy, call the office, please. Peggy.
That was George, and Jack went to work at the post office as a mail carrier, but finally got to be the superintendent of the mails. And Margaret, my sister, also became a nurse and moved from around Rockford down to the state of Florida before she died. Then, who was that, Margaret?
Yeah.
Then a younger brother, Carl, died very young. And years later, we had another little sister, Rosemary. She married and to a soldier, and they traveled all over the world, or not the world, the continent. She died.
We're not going to a phone call on
My
Wednesday.
sister died
We're going to a phone call on
2 years ago. The part of town where we lived, there was a park where most of the children played, and as much as they could do their own entertaining. But there was a tennis court. I met this other player, and we became very good friends. We both went to the same school. No, we didn't either. We went to the two different schools, the East and West School. And eventually, after graduating from high school, in the same class with this certain boy, I don't remember. After playing down, being acquainted with many of the players or friends around the park, your dad now. First met probably, they had these playground parks for children, and evidently Dad and we both went to them, and of course after you left there you went to school. We went to the same school, we were in the same grade, and we were always friends. From the first, all the way through grade school and high school. We probably never dated, as you kids call dating. He was always there if there was something going on, and I used to be able to go to him and ask him to go places and do things, and it's the same with him. And when we got through grade school, we both went to high school in the same years. And after high school, I got a job. Went to work as a bookkeeper. And he continued that kind of work until he died. It's 67 years old. And that's 76 years old, isn't it? And his death was caused by a bad heart condition. And he was more or less an invalid the last couple of years he lived. But we had the two children. We were married in the year we got out of school. I think 1920. Yeah, we were married when we got out of school. We had the two children, Jack and Mildred, and we just continued to live a very quiet life for many years. All the children were going to school. It was all school work and school programs. And both of the children had good education. They took advantage of some of it, but we were always together as a family. Both our local family and our parents were always just ordinary. Mary. Well, before we were married, our entertainment was going to shows and movies. The colored movies had just come in about 1926, along in there. And of course, we had to see every movie that came along. And then we played tennis quite a good deal when the weather was so that we could. There was no home television, no home radios either. The first radios we saw were
I'm gonna get you two together, so go ahead. Don't bother me.
That would be something.
That
was in grade school at the parks with us just when we were kids and when we grew up. And she went to school, the schools with us, but she went to later. She went on to work. So Dad, of course, and I went in training. But after I got out of training, each of us married. Then had our own children. We were still best of friends, even though many times it'd be a long time between our visits. We were always felt the other one was there, waiting for us at the corner.
That's true.
Did you always live in Rockford?
Yeah. Born and raised here.
Jeez.
And we
You guys
went
are
to
always-
school in grade school, Mary and I. Generally. The funniest thing that ever happened to us, so I don't know if I should tell this or not. Are you recording this?
No. Yeah,
Oh,
I am.
good.
Go
I'm
ahead. Go ahead.
better
I am.
now. Anyway, she was expecting your father, wasn't it? Sure. You were expecting. You had Mildred, remember?
Well, I must have.
Sure. And you came over to visit me. I lived in a little town down by the river. And I had a little girl about, she wasn't even 2, was she?
No, 18 months old.
Yeah.
Just big enough to crawl around.
Yeah. And so we decided it was bloody hot, hotter than Hades. And we had a Ford coupe, so we decided to go to Clinton, where you could shop,
A Ford coupe is two doors car.
2-door car. So it was Mary and I, and Mildred, and ran, and then the two we were expecting. So, Rayanne's father, we went up to the station, fill up with gas, and he was laughing his head off. I said, "What are you laughing at?" He says, "I never did see 6 people in a Ford coupe before." You remember that? Oh, yes.
Oh, when the day was hot.
Oh, it was awful, wasn't it, Mary? Oh.
I don't know what I had on. I imagine it was a suit. And I know Elaine has velvet dress on.
Yeah, between Leonard and Clinton. Oh, it was terrible, wasn't it? Oh, God.
But it was fun. And then, of course, Rayanne was climbing all over us. She'd climb over our back and our shoulders. I couldn't drive the car. I didn't know how to drive.
And then we got out in Clinton, you know, and we'd walk around, and these rascals, Mildred and Rayanne, would be running in the stores. We didn't know where the heck they were.
A couple of top-heavy people running there.
Oh, I'd like to live it over again, hard as it was. Wouldn't you, Mary? Be fun. Yeah. Well, you're my best friend, Mary, and you always will be, as long as I live. Which shouldn't be too much longer.
Oh no, don't say that.
Oh,
You know what?
I'm 87.
How we met people on a playground park. Look at how many years people that we met down in South Rockford today. It was three something. Lane Street. And
Main Street, sure.
that's the one that runs down by the park or by the distillery down
Yeah.
down there someplace.
Yeah.
But that was in the paper the other day. It must have been on the north side of the street.
I missed it, I
There's
guess.
just one block there that used to have houses in. On the north side of the street, right down by the river.
Yeah. You remember Joe O'Brien,
Yeah.
that lived on the corner? She was so nice, wasn't
The
she?
Puckles lived on the other,
Yeah. And Aunt Lucy lived right up,
right up the hill.
8 or 9 years old, and Teresa was just a little bit older. And you know, people don't do it anymore, but they used to sit on the front porch.
Yeah.
And my kids were little, and they'd come over and sit, Lawrence and Teresa.
So I come over down and sat too.
Yeah.
That's why I had to take you home, and then you had to take me home.
Yeah, then I had to take you back again. Well, they were nice. So in this life, I can't complain. We had wonderful neighbors. Italian people are so nice. And you're part Italian.
Yeah, my mom's famous.
You know, she's beautiful. Oh, her mother is beautiful, isn't she? She could be in a movie. That's true.
And she,
Yeah, don't tell her.
sometimes I don't think she is.
What? Oh, yes, she is.
She is.
You just think she was listening?
No. Jane?
I did it all.
And you know another thing we used to do that you kids never did? We'd go in the house anytime, morning, the afternoon, or evening, or night, and make a pan of fudge.
Oh,
We
yeah.
could stir
That's not bad
the
idea.
fudge while you were saying Jack Robinson. Couldn't we?
We loved it, didn't we?
We would pour it in the pan, cut it, and go and sit in front of the fireplace. There was no fire there, but where did we sit? We sat on the floor by the piano there someplace.
I don't know where we sat, but we liked the fudge, didn't
We
we?
always had it.
You remember Bernice McLeod, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, she lived on down the street from Mary and Ivy's, and I was down there one night. I don't know if you were there that night or not, but I remember making this fudge. And they had a thingamajig out in the backyard. I don't know what it was anymore, but there was water, you know, cold water, and we wanted to get it cold quick. I don't know why we did. We put it there, and of course the thing sang. We didn't have any brains.
Died. Did you ever hear whether he died or not?
Oh,
Oscar Hodel.
oh, I never heard.
I often wonder. I don't know anybody to ask either.
A long time ago, now I can't, and I shouldn't mention it. It was a long time ago, like 3 or 4 years or something like that. Didn't his nephew, you know, Elmer.
Ask 2316 with the lights on. There is a blue Chevy Malibu.
Oh, Rayanne did that not long ago. She was so mad.
I do it all the time. All the time.
You got car, you got the car.
Oh, yeah.
Few years,
And
like
of course,
80 years, you gals.
You were so pampered with your dad.
Come on.
You know, he'd take
I got
You're just
spanking every
jealous.
day. What do you mean pampered?
Well, Lee was an only child and Mother was the oldest of 6, so you know who got pampered.
Yeah. I was so jealous of your grandmother. It was terrible. She had a sister when we were about what?
She used to
16?
come up to our house on
17,
Saturday night
17.
because we always had beans
How
and
could
wings.
this be?
Beans and wheat.
And she liked beans and wings and she liked the kids. And I used to like to go to her house. They had a maid.
You had a maid, huh?
Oh, wasn't any fun.
Just hand us something that was waiting now.
I
She liked to
remember-
come up to our house because it's all the kids and I liked to go to her house because there was nobody.
She asked me every Saturday night, and her mother would have baked beans. They were the best baked beans I ever had.
Beans.
I always said yes quick, but she took it back.
Well, there was all the brothers and sisters doing things there too.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah, there's nothing like a family, I think.
There's times when people, what did Margaret say to your mother about the pants or something? You told that story about Aunt Margaret. When Grandma was doing something by the pump with cold water or something with Aunt Margaret. Remember that?
That did the dining area from the back there. Margaret was this day and she stood at the back door, right at the back door, and hollered at my mother. She had a spell where she called my mother Mary Ann. So she called her mother, Mary Ann, come out and change me. She
Not
filled her
really.
pants and then she called her mother to come and change her. So my mother took her around the side of the house where we had a faucet now, our faucet. She turned her around and let that water run full cold on it. She was so mad at her, she was ready to drown.
Isn't that something?
But she got washed off good that day. Mary Ann, come on and change me.
She must have been real
Remember
little.
most about Dad.
What do I?
Yeah, what
Oh, yes. He could tell stories like nobody's business,
So,
couldn't he?
the worse the stories got, the more fun he had.
Ah, it was fun. Well, I gotta go.
many people can
Smile, wave,
Oh,
wave. Grandma, put your hand up. There.
And
that one. Wait.
that one or the other one. The good one or the bad one.
Either. There.
You
Okay.
fix it.
Well, I tell you, you don't often have friends.
Well, not 80 years.
No.
Not many
great.
people can be together that many years.
I know it. I
You
can't
guys
believe
about
it.
80
were
years.
you with Grandma when you took the horse and you had to shoe it or something? What happened to you gals when you were out on a Sunday with the?
Oh,
My little-
one of our first dates, at least, probably wasn't your first date. She had all kinds of dates. Your grandma did. Wasn't it
Well,
Harold
she was.
Blakeslee? And,
Edgar Wilson.
yeah, and the horse fell down over in Mississippi Park.
What'd you do about it?
Well, we couldn't lift up a horse, so I can't figure that one out.
Nobody got up, didn't I? I told somebody about that the other day. We were going through Mississippi Park. It got up.
I know it must have. Did we help with it? I never helped.
Maybe the boys did.
Although that's right, though. We were so scared we couldn't help.
I know it.
I said I heard about what running out of gas, but not having the horse fall down.
A double cedar.
Mary, remember the night we were out with
It was daylight by the time we got home.
Frank Howard? Oh,
Oh, well, they had a car. That got some.
Frank and you and Jim and I. Wasn't I with Jim Sullivan?
Well,
And they took us up to that place, and somebody called my mother. We talk about a little town.
I think this one here is the one that did it.
What?
This one here is the one that called your mother.
Who?
June.
No, she wasn't in Rockford.
What?
This is before I was married. You and I when we were kids. Kid, that was terrible. Some busybody called and said that Mary and I were with these two fellows. We might have had a glass of wine, I don't know.
Well, who were those two fellows? But we knew them both, and our folks knew them all. It was.
How old were you?
We must have been 18.
Well, I'm sure you were old enough to be out with fellas.
Yeah. But it was awful. Mary and I don't know about Mary, but I went around with my head hanging down. I thought, oh, I must have done something terrible. But I didn't know what it was.
What they call that?
Busybodies.
Chop suey house.
Yeah, that's where
They
we were.
heated a place with a stove.
Where was that, up in Boyd?
No, right here
Right,
around.
what,
Where?
where?
Same name.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it called, a chop suey house?
Yeah, it was.
Why did we tell her about it? She might think we were wild.
Well, you might as well have been.
Well, we might as well be, but we weren't. I'm so
We were
glad
as
to
well
see
as
it.
we could be. We did all we could. We got in everything we could, I guess.
And they were the happiest memories of my life, Mildred.
Sure.
With your mom. You're the greatest, and I don't want to tire you out. May I come again?
Anytime, don't wait so long. It's almost 2 years since you've been.
Oh, it's not! I was here at Christmas and one before.
Okay,
I'm
Elaine,
so glad
good
I
to
saw
see you.
I got married in Detroit. This Bill Foster and his girl, the girl Seal that we chummed with and we've been friends with for years. And Dad and I were going to have a double wedding. But it turned out that Bill's father was a minister, and Bill had to be married by him, and I was a Catholic, and I had to be married according to our church rites. So that was the reason. Bill had a job in Detroit, and that's how we happened to get up there. So after Dad and I were married, then we came back to Rockford, where I finished training. Dad got a job working at it was a factory that made wooden boxes, because things then were shipped in boxes a great deal of the time. There's a certain way to make boxes so they held up, and it was quite interesting work for a number of years till he went into office work and accounting. By that time, we had the two children, Mildred, who was 4 years older than Jack or John. We always called him Jackie mostly. And things, our life went along pretty smoothly for a few years then. Then probably the biggest change along in those years was what came in, well, the telephone, talking pictures became the way we got most of our entertainment, although there was a great number of stage plays. And if you like stage plays, you were always able to catch one or two of the plays in the local theaters. They weren't very expensive, $1.25 admission. And from the play, then of course there was the war came out. That changed everybody's life. It wasn't it was both a drastic and a change. And do differently. And there was more give and take, and a little bit more helping one another during those years than there had been before that. But that was the war. That's a separate piece in everyone's life. The war and what the war did and how it affected them. Most families, not many, most families had a break in them either with somebody in service or having to move for their work or that way. That way the whole world, was affected. But to go back to our own life, it was rather a peaceful life. I got rest. I think I'm always glad I did. I was glad I finished my training. I completed my education after we were married. And that was very important because when things happen later on in life, especially if you were in need of money and had a family, I could always get a job or nurse's training work that I had done to keep the family together. Anybody's life is keeping their family together and trying to understand one another. There's generally enough in any one family group to either make a difference or do things differently. But if you have somebody that, such as brother and sister or father and mother to fall back on, it makes your whole outlook in life a great deal of difference. And you have to get older before you can look back and see where you have made mistakes or changes that you shouldn't have done. Remember their names and their ages, and probably won't get any better off as I go along. Got her English, and she wondered why or how she ever happened to marry this fellow. And this old woman who's her grandmother, because it knocked you up. And then to come out on the television. So that was just, that's why that's so funny they use that gutter, it is gutter language, that's all you can call it. But sometimes it fit. That was funny last night. It was funny because the way she says things, it doesn't come out vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out funny, but not vulgar.
Was that B. Arthur, or was that...
Yeah.
You watch that show every week?
Huh?
You watch that show all the time?
Oh, it's only once a week.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday night at 8 o'clock. You could hear a pin drop out here. People all wait for it to say. But they don't see shows or...
Yeah. That's the big show?
Huh?
That's the big show everybody watches?
It's only an hour.
Feels good, doesn't it?
And God bless you. You have to take what you got when you got it. And if you change things, if you want something different, well, you have to make sure it was there. You just couldn't go down and change things, except it. The shortages were there, and some people took advantage of them. But most all it was necessity. They found things necessary to make and to do things. It's just like now. Not so much different now.
Who was the best president we ever had?
Well, of course, I have to say Jimmy Carter. didn't speak anything about reading there. Your dad and I did a lot of reading, which you just can't pick these things out of the air.
Mhm.
What are you going to do from now till morning?
Till morning. I don't know. I've got